Much of the nation was expecting President Trump to use his first moments of the inauguration to unite the nation. But that is not what they got in his first speech. Will things change as the Trump presidency moves forward? Here to talk about that is Slate's chief political correspondent and CBS News political analyst, Jamelle Bouie, and New York Times chief national correspondent, the inestimable Mark Leibovich. Gentlemen, welcome. Jamelle, I want to talk about a line in the speech yesterday. The president said, when you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. How does that work practically on day 2 of his administration?
I'm not entirely sure how that works, although I think American history may disagree with that prescription. I understand what President Trump is trying to do, trying to sort of move past his campaign rhetoric, which was criticized from many corners, including from some Republican lawmakers like Paul Ryan, for being racist. I think Paul Ryan said of one remark, that's like the textbook definition of something racist. I still think Trump has a lot to do to work past that. I think many Americans still look at President Trump, look at his campaign, look at some of the policies he's proposed around sort of restricting Muslim immigration, restricting Hispanic immigration, and they think to themselves, this guy is someone who is out for me. He's not just a president I disagree with, he is someone who is opposed to my presence in this country.
So, Mark, how does the president govern now when he gives a speech that essentially is not really unifying and actually slaps a lot of members of his own party for not being successful? How is that a strategy to start governing the country, do you think?
I don't think it's a strategy at all. I think it's another sort of non-pivot point that a lot of people were expecting and maybe would end differently. I mean, this was the nomination speech. This was the debate. I mean, there was never really been that turn to a more inclusive kind of rhetoric. I mean, I think Trump has a great deal of confidence in his ability to say one thing and then persuade behind the scenes. And at this moment, at least, the Republican establishment, such as it is, seems very much cowed by him and afraid of sort of getting on the wrong side of him. We'll see if that changes very soon.
Jamelle, the president talked about, again in his inaugural speech, about urban areas being places of crime and blight. He is nominating Jeff Sessions to be the Attorney General, someone who's controversial, especially among minority groups. Can relations get worse?
I think they absolutely can. His language about urban centers doesn't really reflect reality for most people who live in them, and I think it's the kind of thing that signals to them that maybe this is going to be a president who isn't actually that concerned with the lives we actually live. And Jeff Sessions, you're right, is not just controversial, but believes, and he said this in his confirmation hearing, that the Department of Justice has no business investigating entire police departments rather than individual misconduct, that one concern for the country ought to be voter fraud and making sure that there isn't sort of voter impersonation. And these are problems, on both ends that activists and experts and people kind of working in the fields will tell you, we should be investigating entire police departments because there are patterns of misconduct. Voter fraud isn't a real problem. There's been, 4 cases of 1 billion votes over the last 10 years. So when you have that kind of rhetoric and language about cities, about these so-called problems, they're nervous.
Mark, there was no olive branch to the other side, really, in that speech yesterday. Do the Democrats have a strategy for reacting to Trump yet?
They don't seem to. I mean, the Democrats are very disjointed at this moment. I think, like it's a very different flavor of disjointedness in the Democratic Party and as there is in the Republican Party. I think they're very much in a pick your battles mode. I think you're seeing it over some of the nominations. I think Betsy DeVos might actually be the person they're rallying around trying to defeat more than others. So, I mean, we'll see. But I think right now, I mean, Chuck Schumer seems to be the person that they're looking to. We'll see who emerges.
We'll see being the operative phrase of the day. Jamelle Bouie and Mark Leibovich, guys, it's always good to see you.
Thank you.